What we have been speaking about this whole month, root and reboot. I love that because we have to be rooted in spirit. And in case that we have been shaking or we don't know what our roots are, we have to reboot, just like the computer, right? We when it's not working properly, we reboot the computer to reset itself. And today's topic is live in a never ending celebration. I love when that came to me, living a never ending celebration. Can you imagine living in that never ending celebration? I really believe that it is time for us to really surrender to that bigger idea of God, because God has a huge idea for us. And, we have minimized it. But when we can tune into that bigger idea of God, then we will move from struggling to the celebration of life. And we can celebrate life every single day, because I believe that the fact that you are awake today, the fact that you can do the things that you do, that is more than enough reason to celebrate, because there's a lot of people that did not wake up this morning. There's a lot of people that are unable to do the simple things of life, yet you can do them. So I think that when we remember that, we realize that we can be in a celebration all the time. We don't need the big things of what society had tells us that we need in order for us to celebrate. So I invite you today to be mindful and to be in the flow of joy that is always there. It's always there for you and me. The only thing that we need to do every single day is to recognize it. And the fact that you and me can recognize it, that alone is a celebration, because so many of us are sleepwalking that we don't even recognize that there's so much good in the world. There's so much good in your life, and it's more than enough to celebrate. So this month, throughout this month, we have been reminded about the basic of spiritual principles. And we do this in our organization. We do it through the practice of the science of mind, the principles. And the main principle, I believe, is remembering that love covers everything and in anything. And if we can remember that all is love, regardless of how we looks, okay, regardless of how we looks, then we can put ourselves in a higher mindset. So today, I really want you to pay attention to what you're feeling as we're speaking, as we're sharing, as we're bringing our ideas, for you to ponder in, for you to really look into and see how divine love is guiding you, is leading you every single day, because God is always leading you and guiding you. The question is, am I listening? Am I listening to that guidance? Am I paying attention to my experiencing? Am I coming from a place of gratitude? I love what Reverend Moata say. I was listening to their conversation last week, I think, or the week before. And he said, if we can only be in meditate, in gratitude, the only thing that we have to be is in gratitude. And when we stay in that state of gratitude, my God, the things that happen in our life is amazing. So, what I want to ask Reverend Moata and Reverend Rodney here is, what is it that we must give, that we must surrender to in order for us to really live in celebration, or what we must give up, so we can really enjoy life and see life as the celebration that it is? And any one of you can answer to that.
Well, since we seem to be playing who goes first, um, you have to surrender being right.
Ah!
You got to let go of your opinion about everything. As long as you have an opinion, you have turf to defend. Okay, you have a position staked out that anybody who opposes it is the enemy in a dualistic reality. And we live in and people are in that dualistic reality. So we're all defending our opinions and what we think. And anybody who doesn't think like us is wrong. And if they're wrong, that means they're bad and they don't get as much stuff as I get. I should get more stuff than they get. I should be better off than them. If they do better than me, then I can't be happy. So all of these things contribute to this idea of not being enough. But when you get the oneness, when you get unity, when you get wholeness, then you can't be anything but complete right where you are. There's no such thing as not enough. I am enough is the best affirmation I ever heard. I am enough has carried me a long, long way. And so just letting go of being right, letting go of my opinion. If I hear myself saying something 3 times in a row, I shut up immediately and just get grateful. So I'm always, focused on gratitude and not what I think. I tell you what, here it is. Think as little as possible. Because you're not thinking when you celebrate, you're just being. You're just allowing the joy to erupt. Okay, so when we start thinking now, I can't be happy. Wait a second, something's going on here. So that would be my long-winded response.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. What about you, Reverend Rodney?
Well, I would agree with that. I mean, surrender is the key. Most of the time, I have to say, I have to surrender my thoughts or my thinking, not necessarily, the truth, but sometimes my thoughts will not be the real truth for everyone. It'll just be, my thoughts, my beliefs, and to surrender them in the moment is a great freedom. And so I'm free to listen. I'm free to feel. I'm free to understand one another, another person. Because while I'm sitting there thinking or remembering or trying to figure out something to say, then I'm not giving up the better part of myself to another. And so I think, if I can just be still, or when I'm able to be still in the moment, is where that magic of surrender happens. Where, as they say in the rooms of recovery of 12 steps, they say surrender to win. And so it seems like, well, how do you win if you surrender? But if I'm giving up the lower part of me to the greater part of not just me, but to the allness, I'm giving that up, then I'm most certainly going to succeed. Way better. It's like, I forgot there's an actual saying, but God knows better than I do. So if I could be still and listen to the God voice within and the God voice that comes from seemingly without from others, then I will surely be ahead of what I could do with my limited so-called thinking. So I surrender. In those rooms, in those meetings, they have the think sign upside down for a reason. Thinking can be
I
upside
didn't realize
down.
that it did that. That's funny.
Can't trust it. And there's a higher power at work at all times in my life, and I surrender to it. And my acronym for it is infinite truth. When I surrender to it, the infinite truth, then I'm surely going to win in the things that I truly, really desire. And I get to claim dominion over my life. That to me is the answer. One possible answer.
I love how you both are really speaking about, which refers to this quote that we have that we got from Living the Science of Mind on page 425. That 4, it says, when we fail to live in accord with the divine, we bring suffering on ourselves. The great surrender. And it is, I every time I can think about myself when I find myself in those places. I realize that I have disconnected myself. I have become unaligned with God, with my source, with the source that is within me. And so, just like Ernest Holmes says too, we have to surrender to live in God and allow God to just let go and let God. There's another, I don't know who said that, but I hear that a lot. Let go and let God. Let God take care of everything. Let God take care of the little things, because our minds can really takes us to a place of focusing on things that are not truth. Apparently, in appearance, in the world, it looks like it's true because we live in this dualistic world, like Reverend Muata was saying. But the reality is that we are always in joy. Especially when we choose to, we have to make that choice because each one of us have free will. And so we can choose to celebrate, or we can choose to be in hate. What are we choosing? What do you want to choose? And so I think that is very important that we keep our mind and our hearts, knowing that when we choose love, we are always choosing more. We're always choosing to celebrate life. We're always choosing to surrender to that divine love within ourselves. And that's what I love about that. Reverend Rodney or Reverend Moata, will you say that? So how different or how similar is surrendering and giving up?
I'm gonna let you go first, Rodney.
Well, I'm going to put this definition of surrender, and it says to give something up. And from Old French, and it says quite simply, give up, deliver over. And that's like when you break up the word of surrender, it's to deliver over, to give back, and to give oneself up. And I like that part that says to give oneself up. And it's the difference that most of us, I think, make with the word, between the words surrender and give up. A lot of times we say give up, it means more like quit, and it means it's hopeless, you're not going to win, and it feels like very much defeated, as though there is no hope. And you just might as well roll over and die. To me, that's what give up means. That's how it resonates for me. That's a connotation in my mind. Surrender for me, however, has a more passive and powerful connotation, meaning that I can surrender, and of course it means I don't have to fight anymore. And that's what a lot of folks say in the rooms of recovery is when you surrender, you don't have to fight, and you can surrender to win. Meaning, as you surrender, that means you're able, if you think about the analogy with your hands, if you're just holding on and you're fighting and your fists are clenched, then you're not able to receive anything. You're not able to either give or receive. And so surrendering opens up to a flow that we can participate in, and there's nothing against one another. And therefore, surrender has a much more copacetic definition to me of not just giving up, but being available for something even greater than what I might have been fighting against, or just being ignorant about. I just didn't know. I thought I had to fight. I thought I had to put up my barriers. I thought I had to have something to actually be against. So anyway, that's what that means for me. Reverend Moata, did you want to jump in on anything there?
All I would say is I work this because I've been saying for years the difference between surrender and is not surrender does not mean giving up. But upon our research last night with the dictionary, there's just too much evidence that yes, surrender actually does mean giving up. Mm-hmm. And so that meant I had to revamp, the whole way I think about surrender as being this thing like you're not giving up, but you're giving authority over to something else. Mm-hmm. But I think that's still what it is because I did the etymology of it and all that, but it comes down to this. When you give up, what you're saying is, I am no longer in charge. Mm-hmm. I am no longer the authority. You give up, you get picked on in the schoolyard, the bully slaps you around, you give up. I don't have the power. I'm not in charge. Every time you say you give up, see, that's the difference. See, giving up is not the same as quitting to me. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. And people think that surrender means quit. That's the word. Surrender doesn't mean quit. Surrender is a change in strategy. You
Mhm.
know, it's like they use the word, retreat doesn't mean the battle's over. Somebody called there's a movie back in the 60s called Advance to the Rear, retreat. And so, surrender simply means I'm willing to usher in a different authority than the one I've had up until now. So yes, I'm ceasing all of my struggles and hostilities on this plane of existence because, what the Bible says, a new government's upon my shoulders, a new sheriff in town. Okay, and I'm listening to that now. So Muata surrenders. He gives up that part of himself that's not functioning the way he wants, but he's not quitting life. He's not quitting, existence or quitting his goals, but he's surrendering old tactics, quitting and giving up old behaviors and beliefs that keep me from those things. So I would draw a distinction between giving up and quitting, because I have to draw a distinction between surrender and quitting because they're not the same thing in my mind.
Mhm.
Right. So in our conversation, you brought this up about, I put it on the screen. Stop being who you was, or to be who
Yeah,
you
yeah.
who you are.
You got it. We surrender. We surrender being what's the word we're using the word of? Give up being an ovum and a sperm to become a fetus, an embryo. Then we give up being an embryo to be a fetus. We give up being a fetus to be an infant. We give up being an infant to be a toddler. We give up being a toddler to be a child. We give up being a child to be a teenager. We give up being a teenager to be an adult. We give up being an adult to be mature. We give up to get old. And finally, we give up the ghost entirely. But we're constantly surrendering.
Yeah.
All day long, every day long, everything we do is a surrender of some kind. But it's got a bad rap like, oh, well, you're weak if you surrender. No. Smart people know when to surrender.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just
It takes
holding on to the
strength
wrong
to
thing.
surrender. You're saying it takes strength to surrender.
It takes strength. It does. I mean, it's required that we surrender. You don't
Yeah.
survive without surrender.
I really, what comes to me as I hear you speak, it's when we surrender, we allow the flow of life to do what needs to do with us.
Absolutely.
Because when we go against it, it's like going against the when we go against the currents, right? So then we struggle, we feel the struggle and we suffer. We are suffering in that space. But when we surrender, we can actually feel, I am gonna speak for myself, I can actually feel peace. I can actually, instead of me if I'm feeling fearful for something, just feel the fear, just let it be, just surrender it to God and let God take care of it. How it's going to happen is not my business. It's just for me to be with it. I was telling a client of me, it's okay, we're humans, we have those feelings. It's not about you fighting against not having them. Just be with it, just be with it. So, and for me, just be with it means surrender it to divine God, right? So, but an example of giving up for me would be like giving up hating, giving up doubts, giving up fearfulness, right? Because when we give up on those, we say, you know what, I'm giving up hating people, and instead we replace that hate with love. We replace fearfulness with faith, knowing that God will take care of it. Or, if you don't like the word God, whatever word you want to use for that higher power that you believe in. So, but also giving up for me has this denotation of I give up and I let it go. I just let it go. I let it go. I let it go because it's beyond my own power. I can't take care of it. I'm out of it. And so I let God do what God knows how to do best. And that's how it comes to me. But I love what
So you're gonna let God do what God do?
Yeah. That's it.
yes. I let God do what God does. That's the best part. I think when even if we just, and I know that sometimes I'm gonna say for myself, I want to have control of things. Most of us do. The reason why we fight is because we want to have control. I want to have control. And not having control, realizing that I don't have to control it and that I can give up having control, is saying I let God do and take care of it. So I don't have to take care of it. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot of faith. It sounds easy when it comes out of my mouth, right? But it's not an easy thing to do. I want to make sure that I do let you know that it takes a lot of practice. But what I have learned in my practice is that the more we practice the spiritual principles, the easier it becomes. The easier it becomes. And sometimes, to be honest with you, it's about forgiving ourselves. It's about forgiving ourselves that we are in that space. And when we can actually sit still and say, I forgive myself for wanting to have control or for wanting to change the situation, I let it go. I'm going to just be with it. I did everything that I was supposed to do. I did everything that I thought I needed to do. Now I have to let it go. I really believe that giving up, you don't want to give up on life. You don't want to give up in living life. You want to make sure that, you want to know that no matter what you're going through, there's always something good that is going to come out of that. Okay, so I think that as long as we are alive, we don't give up. We don't give up living. We don't give up on our dreams, regardless of how it goes or regardless of how it looks like. It might just mean that we just need to do a detour. It just might mean that we must be still and just wait and see how things turn out. But it doesn't mean that we have to give up. So I think that when I hear the word give up, for me, it's more giving up things that do not serve us in a personal level, in a community level, and even in a world level, right? Like hate. We don't want to be feeling the feelings of hate. We want to release those feelings and let go of those feelings. Fear-based too. Anything that causes fear, we want to give up of that, because fear, it doesn't do any good for us. It expands and it makes the lie even larger and bigger, right? I a lot of times I think that ego feeds on fear. And so we must remember that whenever we are fearful, where we must go to our inner center, to our center, to align ourselves with that divine God within ourselves, to help us to remember who we are, to remember that we are in God, that we are in God.
That's awesome. That's so true, Ellen. And the ego is very good at creating the fear that feeds it. So and like this quote here that Reverend Mwata put in, we become a prisoner of it. We can't get outside of that vicious circle of fear and doubt. And we'll get frustrated, we'll get angry because it seems like we're trapped in that. And especially when we give more credit to the ego than we do the spirit. That invisible thing. And ego's like, no, listen to me. Look, I'm the one that's talking to you. You can hear me. You can feel me. We do this. Look what we've done. But that spirit, why are you listening to that? You can hardly hear it. It's so small voice, but we become a prisoner. And I love that quote, it's that Reverend Mwata put in. And he says, as prisoners of our own mind, not the big M mind, but the little mind, the one that thinks it does all the thinking, as prisoners of our own mind, our first responsibility is to escape the limits of intellectual reasoning and allow ourselves to be led, guided, and directed by a spirit or consciousness. And you want to speak to that, Reverend Mwata?
That's pretty good. I said that. This guy's good. Well, we're all prisoners of our own thinking. This is what opinions are. Okay, our opinions are our jailers. Okay, our opinions are the bars that behind which we survive. You know, we don't venture beyond our opinion, our comfort zone. You know what we think, the way the world ought to be. And I mean, it's a trip how, you know, as I get older, I sound so old, man. I hear myself like things aren't the way they're supposed to be. Things ain't the way they used to be, because I have this picture of life as I grew up, and it's not that way anymore. And you're stuck in a paradigm that no longer exists. But you do everything you can to make it so, but it just ain't so, Blanche. It's no longer true. And so you wind up creating a reality where you just looking for anything you can to support the reality that you have and ignore everything else. So it's that quest to just support the information you have. That's the prison, because that's the only place you're going to go. You might as well be in jail. You're not going anywhere. I know exactly where to find you. I know exactly what you think. I know exactly what your opinion. I know exactly what's going on with you, because you are stuck in a mindset that says this is who I am. And many of us are stuck in a mindset that says this is who I am. That's being a prisoner of your own mind. You can't think outside of your perception of yourself. In order to be free of that, you have to be willing, what you said earlier, you got to stop being who you was in order to be who you are. You have to be, you're a prisoner's first response in war. The prisoner's first responsibility is to escape. So how do you escape the prison of your mind? Well, the prison of your mind is created by the bars of thinking. So you got to quit thinking and start knowing stuff. Well, how do you know stuff? Well, you have to surrender to a higher truth that knows. Okay, you surrender to something higher. You know, I had a bully in my neighborhood. He'd come up on you, got your fist balled up, well, you're going to fight back. And he'd be like, unball your fist. You know you can't whoop me, unball your fist. He's telling you to surrender on. I don't even want to see your fist balled up. Okay, you better just get humble when you see me coming. Okay, that's surrender to me. Okay, I just get humble. I just shut up. Okay, if I hear myself saying the same thing 3 times in a row, I shut up immediately, because I know my thinking is now trying to dominate the conversation. So I shut the thinker down by shutting my mouth, which is the oracle of the thinker. Okay, and I'm here listening now. I just want to hear. And sometimes, you know, it seems like it's so wrong that I have to be quiet and other people get to speak. Okay, sometimes it seems so unfair, and maybe it is. But what it stops me from doing is, what it does though, it gets me out of prison. Because now hearing somebody else's opinion and somebody else's idea, that gets me beyond the bars of my own thinking and gets me into, now I might be in their cell with them, but chances are, you know, if we're sharing these ideas, now we're both out of our cell and we can walk down the hall and walk out of this prison of thinking. And thinking is trapped in the intellect. Okay, just trapped in the intellect. You know, this is why women talk about mansplaining. I finally figured this out. I didn't figure it out. Somebody said it to me in such a fashion that I finally figured it out. A woman was talking to me last week, and she created a scenario, and I began to respond. She says, "I'm not looking for an answer. I just want to talk about it." And I said, "Oh, that's what they mean." Because as a man, I'm trapped in the paradigm of problem solving. Okay, don't tell me a problem if you don't want me to solve it. Okay, I don't want to talk about the problem. We don't talk about problems. We go fix them, or we leave them alone. That's just, so, you know, that's a prison I got freed from, just because she said I don't need to have a conversation. I just want you to listen. I said, well, dang.
All right, that's truly freedom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, Ellen, I think you had some questions you wanted to bring up for everybody.
Well, yeah, the other question that I wanted to think was that I want everyone to think about is, what do you think we could do? What do you think we could surrender in our home life, in our schools, in our world? What could we surrender? And when I think about it, as we have this conversation, I think more of not surrendering, but more than anything, giving up. You know, like, what should we give up in doing in our homes and schools and in the world? Because we have already discussed here that surrendering means allowing God to take care of whatever that is going on. We just let it be. We don't try to fix it, right? But yet, giving up is something that we, as on an individual level, we have control of, and in our homes, in the school system, in the government, and in the bigger perspective in the world, because we are all being affected by what is going on in the world. So what we must give up doing, what are some of the things that we can give up doing? And I think it really starts with our own selves. It starts with ourselves. It starts with ourselves, and as we do it on an individual level, we could do it in our families, and then we spread outwards, right?
Yep.
Yes, for
Absolutely.
sure. For sure. You can only, there's only, all you got is you. Everybody's a reflection of you. That's all there. That's all there is to it. And so, uh, I saw that question. What do we give up in school? And I don't understand. I'll be honest. They're going a direction. I don't understand what they're trying to say. I think that, to me, they're trying to force a narrative there that doesn't naturally fit. So I don't really have an answer for that. I think, yeah, surrender is about surrender, and you surrender. Surrender is stop thinking about the problem and start thinking about God. That's what Emmett Fox says in The Golden Key. Okay, every time you see presented with any situation, you don't talk about the problem, because what you talk about, you bring about. You want to talk about, here's a male mind, you talk about solution, and so, what's the solution? God, consciousness. So I always, put some God sauce, some consciousness, on whatever the problem is, and stay there, and don't ruminate on how awful it is and who shot John, and because that just creates more misery. And so celebration is when you're in the presence of the divine. It's naturally to celebrate. Well, I'm going to evoke the divine, whatever the circumstance is, by going back to God, and that gives me cause to celebrate, because I'm grateful that I have a God or a consciousness that always frees me from bondage. Why? Because it allows me to stop thinking about the problem and start thinking about the solution, which is consciousness or unity. And so that's what I like to call spiritual buoyancy. That keeps me afloat. And so I can look around, everybody else is drowning. I'm kicked back, I'm floating backstroking, because I know that spirit is supporting me. And so that's the only answer I have for that. I had difficulty with that question.
Right, and that's the reason why I say about that it shouldn't be surrender, because of the answer that you just gave. I totally agree with you, and so I shifted to giving up. To give
Yeah.
up. What could we give up in our schools? And as always, I believe that we have to start with ourselves, with myself, with my home, school
Yeah.
system, my town, my country, the government, and in totally, and as we expand outwards is in the world, right? Because we are in the world, and so what I do, it affects the world, whether I believe it or not, it does, right? And so I think that what could we give up? And one of the things that I thought about is hate. Hate is sad. It's sad that we can believe that there's hate, because it's a belief that we have been feeding, um, and we continue to feed it. And the more we feed it with not only our thoughts but also with the actions that we make, that's something that on an individual level we must do, and in our homes we have to do, with our families. You know, I come across so many people, and I realize that the reason why we live in a world that we live in is because our families are in war a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
So so the world is just showing us what is within ourselves and within our families. And so what else can we expect? So we must start with ourselves. What kind of war am I having with myself? What kind
Mm-hmm.
of dysfunction, or I always tell my family, we don't have to agree. We can agree to disagree. I don't have to like everything you do,
Absolutely.
but I know who you are, And I know that your actions I might not like, but that doesn't mean that I don't love you. I still love you. So I think it's a lot of education that we when it comes to the school system, especially, we must educate ourselves on a on a on an individual level, and our children, our grandchildren, our families, and in the school. Wow, we can teach our school system that we can shift hate into love, and that it's okay to agree to disagree. That's just my
Of
how.
course it is. It is absolutely. It must be. Cannot be otherwise. I'm
That's right.
curious when you say, yeah, I'm gonna let it go. I have difficulty with that one, but thank you for your explanation. That helps me some. Um, that one messes with me. I guess it's like I just because the same thing I'm going to give up at school, I'm going to give up at home, I'm going to give up on the job, I'm going to get up in traffic. You giving up this idea that somehow you're separate. You got that's I don't understand. What are
Yeah.
you? Is this what a student gives up? The teacher gives up? This one, I'm slow on this one. So thank you for that.
No, but you said something so beautiful, Reverend Muata. You said separation. Oh my God, the other day it came to me so clearly. And I was just, oh my God, oh my God. When I get those moments, I'm just like, oh my God. It's the sense of separation, the biggest mistake that we have. And that's the source of all the
There
lies.
it is right there. That is
Separation.
the belief in two powers. And that's why the scripture says the devil is a lie and the father of all lies. The very concept that there could be something that opposes God that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It
Right.
can't be the truth. I,
God. Go ahead.
I just want to say I don't know how much time you have left with us. I know you got to get ready for your service, so you'll let us know.
Well, it's getting up on about 10:15. I need to be out. I mean 1:15 by you guys
We
because
are,
my
we are almost out because I think that we are really having a good segue to our affirmations.
Yeah,
Actually,
we're
it's
doing
very,
affirmations. We have a spiritual mind treatment.
yes.
Um, Perhaps maybe Reverend Mawati will do that healing treatment before he goes,
well, I could. I guess I will now.
and then we'll do the affirmations after that. Okay.
All right. Um, I always love an opportunity to pray because praying requires unity. Hmm.
Requires surrender too.
It requires surrender, absolutely. So, hmm. I'm grateful, so grateful. I am one with the Spirit all around me. I'm grateful, so grateful. I trust in God. There's one life, one mind, one power, one presence. There's one eternal giving nature that lives and breathes and has its being in and through and as all creation. It lives and breathes and has its being in and through and as me, in through and as the San Francisco Center for Spiritual Living, in through and as the One Love Center in New York, in through and as the the broadcast today, the live stream today, in through and as all circumstance, all situations, all memories, all anticipations. God is all there is. Each of us, all of us are manifestations of the one, operating as the one. As we live and breathe and have our being, we are the one living and breathing and having our being. As we walk down the street, the one is walking down the street. It cannot be otherwise. And it's because I know this, I know that right where I am. And what I say for one, I say for all. What I say for me is true for me, is true for everyone. Right where I am and just as I am, all of my needs are met, all of my expectations exceeded, all my joys are fulfilled, and I am led, guided, and directed all the days of my life because the same infinite intelligence that set the cosmos in motion and causes the tide to rise and fall with synchronicity. Littered the sands with littered the beaches with sand. And put the velvet canopy of blackness and called it the night sky. carved every valley, rooted every tree, raised every mountain. That is the intelligence. That is the hand. That is the activity that's living and breathing and having its being in, through, and as me, in, through, and as each and every one, right here, right now. With this breath, with this heartbeat, each of us is whole. Each of us is perfect. Each of us is complete. All of our needs are met, expectations exceeded, joys are fulfilled as we rest and abide in the shadow of the Almighty God all the days of our lives. We say yes to spirit. We say yes to spirit and turn away from all feelings of inadequacy or conflict. We say yes to the holy presence. Looking in the face of danger, heartbreak, disease, death, hunger, we say yes to the Spirit, the divine one that indwells each of us, knowing that we are nestled in the bosom of the Most High, cradled at the heart of the Most High, fed by the bosom of the Most High. And all is well. I gratefully accept this. I gratefully accept this. I gratefully accept this life, this lifestyle, this change of heart, this surrendering of my opinion. Knowing that consciousness leads the way and consciousness is cause. And so it is. Amen.
So it is, and now it is.
And now
Thank
it
you
is.
so much.
Namaste.
Yes.
Bless you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Reverend Sir.
All right. So we have some affirmations. And,
I'm probably going to jump off here just now. I'm Reverend Mwata Rasuli at the San Francisco Center for Spiritual Living. You can catch me live at, what's that, 2 o'clock your time? 1:30 we begin meditation. And I'm going to go and get ready so that when you see me again, we'll be live.
All
God
right.
bless you.
So he's on Facebook Live. You get out to San Francisco, you can drop into their church, to their center.
We be
All right.
rock. We be rock.
All
God be
right.
known.
Peace and blessings. All right.
Beautiful.
So Ellen's going to lead us in the affirmations.
Yes. So now we invite you to do affirmations. And our first affirmation is I'm gonna ask you to take a deep breath, and then we have it on the screen. You can read it, and then we go to the next one. Okay. So take a deep breath and release. And there's only one life, and that life is God's life, and that life is my life now. Take a deep breath. As you take that affirmation with you, the next one. I let go of false beliefs and fears that hold me back from living in bliss. Take a deep breath and take that in. And release. The next one. I celebrate and live my life out loud, and so it is, and now it is. Take a deep breath and take that in with you for the entire day and the rest of the week. Beautiful. Thank you. And so now we invite you to the affirmation of abundance. And it says, money as one of the many gifts of spirit is good. As I share my offerings, I know that I am actively creating a space to receive more gifts, more money, and more good. I am grateful for the ability to give and for the good works that this gifts do in our center and in our world. And now it is, and so it is. As I mentioned to you earlier, we're very grateful here at One Love Center for your donations. And you can always do that. You can do it now or later or anytime during the week. You don't have to wait for Sundays to do that. You just have to go to onelovecenter.org and press on donate button. You can click PayPal and it will do the magic for you. Or you can also do Cash Me App, which is a very easy way to do it on your phone. Um, the symbol for us is $ One Love CSL, and we'll receive it right away. You can also support One Love Center through smile.amazon.com/One Love Center teaching chapter. You can always do that because, as I said earlier, every time you buy something from Amazon, we get a percentage delivered to us. And we thank you for remembering One Love Center every time you make your purchases with Amazon, so we can get that percentage is sent to us. Thank you so much for all your giving, and always give with joy and love. And you will, you have to do it, because I can keep telling you, but until you do it, then you will begin to experience it and you will understand what I've been speaking about. It happened to all of us. It happened to me too. So that's how I can tell you that. The next thing that we're going to do is that we want to remind you also that here we take your prayers. Okay, so remember that if you didn't get it earlier, you can actually send us an emails. You can call us. You can also use this. You can send us a text through Messenger, Facebook Messenger as well. And but the best way to do it is to send us an email. So you can do your requests at One Love at onelovecenter.org, or you can give us a call at 844-295-5155. And remember that all your prayers are strictly confidential. We don't share those prayers with anyone. And unless you let us know, we will continue. Unless we usually keep those prayers for 7 days, but if you let us know that you want us to continue to pray for you for that situation, just let us know. We'll be more than happy to continue to pray for you. So now we are, the next thing that we like to tell you is what's going on in our center. We will be having something happening in our center. So keep your eyes and ears open to our chats, to our postings, and to our emails, and forward those emails to your friends and family so they know about what we're doing here at One Love Center. We are also having an upcoming retreat that is going to be on March 16th through the 21st in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. It's a destination retreat. It's all about the power of prayer. And we will be talking about the power of prayer, having partners, having other people praying for you, and being part of prayer, having that practice. It makes a whole difference in your life. And we will be speaking from a place of not speaking from a place of theory, but of knowing and practicing. So you don't want to miss that. And there's a lot more going on that retreat. So if you have any questions, please make sure that you go into the link that we're sharing with you. It's on the Facebook page too. All the information. You needing more information for the retreat, please let us know. Everything is on that link. Okay. What else? And I think that's about it. The next thing that we are here to do is the benediction, and I will have Reverend Rodney do the benediction.
All right. Thank you so much, Ellen. It's always a pleasure to practice this wonderful teaching and provide this wonderful information to everyone. It's the bright light that you are, the enlightenment, the understanding, just loving teaching and what you do is just awesome. And thank you so much for inspiring me and leading us. And thank you so much. So I invite each one to go within as we prepare for this closing prayer, the benediction, the good word, and the music to follow up. And so just know that all that has happened and transpired in this moment, it's all God. It's all good. It's all of the information and energy and inspiration and knowledge and wisdom of the ages of the universe that is available in each and every breath. I give thanks for knowing that as we surrender the old, we can take in the new. We have to be able to receive the good, the breath, the love, the joy, knowing that it is already within us, so we can release all that seems to create a sense of separation and a sense of blocking the truth of who we are. We get to be in that surrender mode in order to win at our heart's desire. And so I give thanks knowing as we go throughout this week, each and every moment of each and every day, of each and every hour and each and every day, we are free of hate, free of separation, sense of separation, because we're not truly separated, free to be able to give up that which might be holding us back so that we might flow freely and joyfully and prosper in health and wealth and all the good that we desire. And we can talk about it, we can share it, we can give it and receive it because we know it is of the Spirit. So this and so much more, I give thanks knowing that it is already showing up for us in multitude of ways that are infinitely good. I bless it all, I bless us all, and let us move forward with this good word that is speaking to us and working for us in ways that are visible and invisible. This is the truth, has always been the truth, especially right now and for each and every now moment. And so it is, and now it is.
So it is, and now it is. Thank you, Reverend Ron.